Hey, this is Debra Cohen, and this is my first time streaming on Substack. I wanted to share with people because I get, quite a few emails from this particular site as a musician and author and seller of merch, among other things. But I wanted to tell you about this latest song I'm writing. It's called Duplicitous. Because I realize in this generation, there is something called neurodivergence that wasn't known in the psychological field back in the 60s when I was growing up, you know, and it didn't much matter because, the flower power generation, we could just be individual and unique and quirky, and nobody ever pointed it out to me. It wasn't until I was in my 50s and I went back to college to finish my music degree because I dropped out to join a rock and roll band in the 80s in Boston. But I noticed that, especially younger people were getting a mixed message about me or my intentions. When I would ask questions, it was like they were suspicious of me. And I thought at first it was the generation gap. But as I continue now as a senior citizen, I notice in social settings outside of music biz, my questions seem to put people on the defense or they think I'm playing games with them. And I always, I wonder, why do you think that my question is so strange? Why do you not understand the way I'm thinking? So I did a little exploring with Dr. Google and came across this definition, neurodivergence, and it fits me to a T. And I'd just like to read with you. I don't know if you can see I'm in my recording studio, and I use an iMac. So if you can't see that, I will read it. Neurodivergence function from what is considered typical or normal, frequently used with reference to autistic spectrum disorders. Now, I don't have autism, but I think it's worth explaining this. And a lot of people, like younger people, they've started using the identity label as queer, which is a whole spectrum of behaviors and under the umbrella of neurodivergence. So let me Did you know that approximately 15 to 20% of the global population has some form of neurological variation? That's what we're talking about. This statistic represents millions of people whose brains work differently from what society often considers typical. These individuals are called neurodivergent, or ND for short, and understanding their unique cognitive patterns is crucial for creating a more inclusive world. Now, just as a side note, when, this term queer, which in my generation in the 60s meant, see, what did it mean? You're queer, odd. Yeah. Or if you said there, he's a queer, it was meaning homosexual. So see how things have changed? Now it means, I guess it still means odd, but the term is made and used publicly for the sake of inclusion. I always wondered, why do you have to tell people what your quirkiness is? Why do you put a label on yourself? That's divisive. It sets you apart from the rest. But now experiencing a lot more bullying as a senior citizen with my personality being an ND, I have come to realize that if I don't tell people I'm an ND, neurodivergent, then they try to figure out why I'm asking certain questions in a certain way, not understanding things in a social context, having difficulty socializing. Yeah, that's me. And I don't know why people don't seem to accept that. I have to explain, I am an ND, or those that are queer. I'm queer. And I mean, maybe like 5 years ago, I would have said, "Why are you telling us your personal, stuff?" It seemed too personal, but for the sake of being included in things, it's important for people to understand each and every one of us and accept the differences within moral ethics. Okay, so let's continue just a little bit. Um, okay. This comprehensive guide will explore the meaning of neurodivergence, examine various types of neurological differences, and highlight the remarkable strengths that come with thinking differently. By understanding neurodivergence, we can move beyond outdated notions of normal and embrace the rich diversity of human cognition that contributes to innovation, creativity, and progress in our society. So okay, it was coined by an Australian sociologist, Judy Singer, in the late 90s. So this term or identity for our human being is a relatively new concept. And it's so important to know what this is. ADD or ADHD is one of the most common forms of neurodivergence. But people are accepted with that diagnosis in this day and age much more so than other kinds of NDs. I fall under the umbrella of dyslexic, and I also have it's like the Moses syndrome. When I'm speaking in a group where I feel uncomfortable, I start stuttering and losing my pattern thought, or just sit there and try to listen to a lecture, and my mind wanders because I'm hyper creative, and these are hyper creative. So that sets me up for, without intentionally being that way, those that don't feel secure about themselves start comparing and feel like they're competing with me just because I'm like always churning out creative material as an indie artist, an author. Uh, you can find my merch on Amazon. And also, I'm in training to be a Tai Chi instructor. But, so people are like, wait a minute, why are you doing all that? Well, I'm wired this way. This is me. Just why can't you just let me be me? Okay, I even have a T-shirt on Amazon. You be you and me be me. So you can find it. I think if you look for let's see, how would you look for my T-shirts? They're not easy to find on Amazon. Debra Cohen Music no, that's my website. Debra Debra Cohen Music on Amazon, or DCM, meaning Debra Cohen Music, DCM merch on Amazon. See if you can find my merch there. But I just wanted to share this song that I'm working on. I'm an indie artist, a DIY ND, meaning I do it myself because who can afford to pay Sterling Labs in New York to get a song mixed? Maybe someday. But, I've been working at this musically since the '80s when I was a new wave band in Boston, the highlight being opening up for Joan Jett. That was the best time of my life, I swear. But anyway, I'm definitely becoming an activist for neurodivergent people who are misunderstood and mistreated and left out just because you're different. And with all of these support groups we have today in 2026, there's got to be a place. There's much education that's needed for people to understand what NDs are. That's my purpose. So recently I was in this Bible study. Of all places, you'd think the people would be kind of nicer, but some of the questions like set them off. Or, of course, having a Boston background, people in the North are direct, or at least they used to be when I lived up there in the 60s, 70s, 80s. Okay. But down here in the South, You cannot be direct around women, other women, because they think that you're boldly outspoken or too direct. Because down here, now I'm not saying everybody, I don't mean to stereotype, but down here, my findings, women they beat around the bush, or they'll talk about somebody by starting out by saying, "Bless her heart," and then they, like, get out the dagger comes, I'm like, "What is that?" Up north, we don't do that. We just say, "Look, you need to fix this," and we just tell you, but we're not doing it to be mean, we're just saying it. Okay, I'm learning that you can't always tell people you can't no, that's the Stones, but you can't always tell people unless they ask for constructive criticism, okay? I've gotten better about that. All right. I don't know if my rabbi would agree with me, but I'm trying. All right. So in this Bible study, I started asking questions because, we're talking about spirituality. That's what we're meant to ask questions. We're supposed to always be learning. But and a couple of these 2, 3 women were like jumping on me, not literally, but giving me a vibe of negative, like rejecting vibe. And as an ND, we can feel vibes much better than those that aren't. So I feel there's something wrong, and they're all like, smiling faces. They don't always tell the truth, do they? No, they don't. So, so I wrote this song. I know I'm getting around to it. Let me play the track because, as I said, I'm a DIY musician, so I write my own record my own music. And, I got the words here, you know, like Paul McCartney and John Lennon, they saved their chicken scratch. And so I started writing down my feelings about being rejected and, misunderstood and, hurt, really hurt. So here it is. It's raw, and if you can relate to it, you can comment on this or tell me where there is an online neurodivergent movement that I can plug into where I would fit and make a difference to educate other people that think we're all supposed to act like them. That I've never fit into that group, never. So, okay, let's just try this, and I'm gonna sing along so you can kind of see how I feel about it. Hope you can hear it. Hope I can hear it. I've woken all sincerity. Okay, I changed the words there. You call out my name. You take my words and spin a tale. To you it's just a game. I see your face, your lips that smile, but in your eyes deceit. Oh, I open the door and I see, and I should have practiced this first. Oh, this is supposed to be the chorus. Still I bleed when my kindness is trusted, and I've had enough. Oh, I've had enough, I'm sure I have. I've had enough. Doors with trembling hands, just hoping to belong. Whispers cut like sharpened glass when I don't fit your song. You call me strange, you call me soft, as if there's something wrong. my heart on my sleeve with a message of love. Ooh, still I bleed when my kindness is trusted, and I've had enough. I've had enough. I've had enough. I learned too young to guard my soul, but still chose the light. I wear my truth without a shield, even when it starts a fight. If loving deeply is my greatest sin, stand here naked and exposed. I walk with my heart on my sleeve with a message of love. Still I bleed when my kindness is trusted, and I've had enough. I won't trade mercy for a crown, or vengeance for relief. Oh, my God is my song in my wilderness, my strength, my deep belief. Ooh, oh, oh, oh. There you have it. There you have it. There you have it. I just have to publish that song. I'm sure there's other people out there that are misunderstood, and we need to educate the public, those bullies that pick on people for being different. I've always been bullied. Started in high school, 9th grade initiation. Stupid dance up north, Algonquin Regional High School. And, freshmen had to go to this dance put on by seniors. That's a welcome to the high school. And I was scared. And these 4 seniors came after me. And each one grabbed a hand, foot, and swung me like a hammock. And it was held in the cafeteria. Swung me back and forth, I'm face up, and then they dropped me on this concrete floor, and I hit my head, and I was seeing stars, and they thought it was funny. That was the beginning of my experience in high school. I never got over that, and I thought, how can people be so cruel? I think there's even a song like that. How can people, how does it go? Be so... I forget the song. It's just kind of echoing in the back of my head. But anyway, that's going to be my next single. I'm calling it, I started out calling it Duplicitous, but I think I'm going to call it Neurodivergent Child, just to raise awareness of NDs in this country. So if you want to share this with your ND group, maybe, I can get invited. As a baby boomer, I've noticed that kids in their early 20s, I call them kids, but they also are suspicious of me because, I'm a senior citizen. All that stuff, that's all American culture. It shouldn't be that way. So this is Debra Cohen MUSIC.com. Thank you for listening. And I've got a new memoir out. It's called, and this is funny because when I say it, the title, people think I'm saying the other word. So you'll know exactly what I mean when I say it. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I'm not saying sex. I'm saying sects about my life for the sake of sharing it for people that like to read memoirs. And growing up in Boston, getting into a band, opening up for Joan Jett, taking drugs, almost dying of an overdose. That's what set me off on a spiritual path, and moved to Nashville to make it as a musician in the 90s, got into a blues band, and was told that I was too old to get signed. So I took that lie. Now I say it's a lie. I took that lie, hook, line, and sinker, and just packed my Nashville bags and suffered through a day job, for the next 10 years. It was like, "Oh my god." But it sent me on a spiritual quest, and I started looking for God or the meaning of life, and, that took me to Egypt and Israel, and from Catholicism, dabbled in Pentecostalism, and then from there, I was led to Judaism, all these isms, right? And here I am, signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours. Ooh. Okay, thanks for listening. Please share and like and comment. I wanna know what's going on with you. Peace out.